Hi everyone. Oh, my voice cracked. Here we
We can
go.
try it again.
No, you know what? You know what? We're all accepting here.
Leave
Hi
it in,
everyone.
Peter. It's
Yeah,
authentic.
I'm going through puberty again at the age of 37. Welcome to another episode of The Superficial Spirit. I am here with Derek. Is he the next Liver King? You'll have to listen to find out. How are you, my love?
Well, I'm not making hundreds of millions of dollars off of my fucking fake supplements, so that's a drag. I don't think I'm the next Liver King, unfortunately, but I
He's
would trade places with him probably. No, I wouldn't. Fuck,
yeah,
he
he,
probably smells so
well,
bad.
oh God. Well, and maybe like his platform would be nice to have, but when you're lying to everybody, it's like a house of cards. It's not going to last forever.
No, and the thing is, like, sometimes I think about that for like a split second. I'm like, I know exactly what these grifters are doing to get their audiences, like these right wing grifters. I know exactly the lies they're telling. I know the conspiracies that they're playing into and stoking. Could I do that for clout? And then I go, no, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I can't do that. I know how. I just couldn't.
It's an interesting, like when you think about people like that who are building these huge followings, if there's a moment where they're like, okay, I'm going to knowingly deceive and lean into this conspiracy theory, or if they just believe it and they're talking about the things that they believe in, they happen to build a following.
But there's people you know that don't believe it for sure. You know someone like Candace Owens, you know someone like Matt Gaetz, you know someone like Charlie Kirk. They don't believe it. You know they don't believe it. But Ben Shapiro, but they don't care, and there's just no way I could ever do that. I just can't. I think about it, and I'm like, that would be nice. It would be nice if I could, but I the I'm not trying to virtue signal, but there's just no way that my conscience could make that happen.
It reminds me of the club when all of the shady promoters would make the most money. And you want to be a good person and you want to treat everybody fairly. But the slimiest, sneakiest snakes seem to come out on top financially over and over and over again, in my experience. It pisses me off.
Yeah, and they get kind of too big to really fail, like Liver King, in my opinion. Like, I mean, he's not doing the numbers he was doing, but he's not doing that much worse after being exposed for the steroids. And they make themselves too big to fail. And then they have these huge platforms, this engine that just keeps chugging. And so even when they kind of, you would think this is the thing that would make them lose it all, they just kind of don't. Trump, all these people, they just get away with it.
Yeah.
This is money.
But
Money does
liver,
that. You can just buy your way out of that hole.
exactly. There's like you get to that point, and it's like it doesn't really matter what people think. You're going to be fine. I know when people talk about Elon Musk losing money and stuff like that, people like him, they're never really going to be held accountable for any problematic behavior because they're just beyond the system that regular people are forced to participate in.
Yeah, or the consequence of being held accountable is still like a very small, it can only take from them like a small fraction of the massive like popularity or influence that they have because they just have so much.
Yeah. Speaking of Liver King, he was recently the story has at least some kind of ending. I mean, when it comes to the scandal, you had an update about he was what charged or what happened?
Well, it's definitely a developing story. Hopefully, we haven't seen the last of Liver King's fucking facing the music, but he has caught himself a $25 million class action lawsuit. And I think that's only one of a number of class action lawsuits or just different lawsuits that have been laid at his fucking raw meat dining table. So that's cool. We like to see that. It's people who know about this stuff. Like there's a YouTuber I watch who has been involved in a lot of defamation cases because people keep filing them against him. He's not. It's they're slap suits. They're just trying to get him to shut up, and he keeps winning. So he knows a lot about this, right? And he was like looking at it, and he was talking about how this like looks. It looks like there's a pretty darn solid case against Liver King just because it's quite clear that he was like indicating that, take these supplements, look like me, but then actually like a reasonable consumer would not assume that he was on steroids, especially since he was specifically saying he was not on steroids, right? So that's what it takes. A reasonable consumer would have to be able to be tricked, and clearly a lot of reasonable consumers were.
Do we know what Liver King's net worth is? Like, is $25 million a huge amount, or is that something he could just pay?
I don't think it is a huge amount because he claims that, and this is probably not true because he exaggerates so much, but he had claimed that he was making like 100 million a year off of his supplements. And if we were to believe him, which I don't necessarily, but that would still only be one income stream of probably many that he has, right? So is he just
Yeah.
going to pay that? No, he's not going to pay that. But if he settles it, he might be able to settle it for less than that.
We'll have to see what happens. I love when people get held accountable. It happens so rarely in the world.
Yeah, it does. Feels good.
Okay, look, I have been obsessed. Did you watch RuPaul's Drag Race, the debut of RuPaul's Drag Race?
I did actually, and I have to admit, I did not watch, I think, the last two seasons because I was like, this show's boring. It's all the same. There's no talent anymore. Everyone's so self-conscious. And I will admit that after a little break, it was actually quite nice. And there was a lot of great talent, I thought.
What was there any standouts to you?
Um, Tons. Of course, that Anitra who won was just like, that was so fun. That was so drag, right? High camp, but also sort of amazing, like with this talent, the karate stuff and just like excellent. Like, actually, what was remarkable, I thought, was that a lot of people just did lip syncs, but it was interesting how the difference between a lip sync like what Sasha Colby did, which was really interesting and emotional, and it was just a straightforward lip sync, but just delivered amazingly. And then that other girl who ended up in the bottom two, whose name I don't remember, who just also did a lip sync, but it just wasn't special. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, Lucy, Loosey. Oh no,
Oh
she sang
yeah, no,
live.
she
Sorry, she
sang,
sang
but
live.
there was another one who maybe they were safe, maybe it wasn't bottom, but I just remember thinking, oh, it was the one who had the backpack with the baby, right? That lip
Oh,
sync where it's like you just
Amethyst,
delivered it
Amethyst.
wrong, yeah, and
Yeah.
it just wasn't. They were just both straight ahead lip syncs. You'll see it in a bar, but in one case it was like great. You can see there's a star quality there, whereas the other was just like, okay, it's a lip sync.
Yeah, I the talent show, I love this as the first what do they call it? Oh my God. The first challenge. What do they call it on Drag Race? Your mini challenge. Yeah, mini max. Yeah, challenge.
Minnie and Maxie, yeah.
I love this as a way to kick off the season because you instantly get a glimpse into what their talent is and also what these queens think is the best way to present themselves. Because at first I'm like, oh my God, why are they all lip syncing? But then I'm like, wait, this is how they're going to make their money post Drag Race. So if you can do the same thing as everybody else, but still stand out, you can do a lip sync to a generate like a stupid self produced pop song and still look good. That is going to separate like the superstars from the average queen. So yeah, I thought Anitra was amazing with her like the quack 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 and the karate chops and the kick. It was like, oh my God, I actually watched it like 20 times on loop this
Me
morning.
too.
Yeah, it was so good. And also Marsha with the Ross Matthews. She
Oh
did
yeah,
the ballet kind of nerdy thing. When
yeah,
she
that was
walked
great.
in the workroom, I was like, who is she's not even wearing makeup. But Willow Pill did that last year too, and Willow Pill ended up winning. So I thought Marsha was great. Um, but honestly, the main thing that I wanted to talk about was those damn twins, Sugar and Spice, because I, well, I love the Olsen twins and I love a gimmick and I
Mhm.
love the people who just want to be famous. And when those twins walked through the workroom, I like my whole body was like, oh my God, oh my God. And I saw them when they introduced the queens or whatever, Meet the Queens on YouTube. And I messaged Steve, who I work with drag queens. And I was like, oh my God, who are these Sugar and Spice? And I messaged a few people who I know work with like RuPaul Drag Race queens. And the feedback was kind of like eye roll, like, oh God, they're just influencers from LA. So my expectations for Sugar and Spice were low. Still, when they walked in, I'm like, how can you not love a pair of identical twins? Their drag looked good. When they walked in, they looked expensive, they looked polished. When they started talking, I was like, oh no, this is not going to go well for them. Like, they are so obnoxious. They're so full of themselves. Like, I think the first thing they said was, did you recognize us from TikTok? And I was like, oh no, please don't start with that. Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? But I quickly fell in love with them. I thought their banter was great. And their performances, like they each did their song. RuPaul laughed hysterically, maybe not throughout the whole thing, but at least in parts, RuPaul was like, okay, they understand how they're being perceived as stupid and annoying, which is smart. Did they move their body and perform perfectly? No, I don't think so. Did they look good? Yes. And you can tell that there's something going on upstairs about like how they're going to produce themselves on social media and on the show. I kind of I don't have a TikTok account anymore. But I kind of like scrolled through and I saw a bunch of their TikToks. They have 7.5 million followers.
Mhm.
And they remind me so much of when Paris Hilton first came out, and her whole thing was like, "I'm stupid, I'm stupid, I'm stupid," but then she ended up like commodifying that and making it a brand and made all of this fucking money. Same with Britney. When Britney first came out, it was like she has no talent, she's not doing anything. She became the world's biggest pop star, and I feel like Sugar and Spice are like a 2022 version of like, we're really gonna amp up the stupid. We don't know what we're doing. We're just TikTok stars. Oh my god. But hopefully, and I'm praying to baby Jesus, they do have something strategic going on in their heads. And we see this evolve throughout the season where, oh my God, maybe the fact that they have 8 million TikTok followers means that they do know what they're doing. And maybe the fact that they're new to drag doesn't mean that they're just, that you should just count them off straight off the bat, because obviously there is something about them that people like. And I saw a few things online. Bible Girl tweeted that, you know, it's really stupid of people to underestimate these social media stars and assuming that just because somebody's an influencer that they have absolutely nothing to offer, because some people are talented that are influencers. Maybe not all of them, but I think Sugar and Spice definitely. I am so fucking excited to see what they do. Those goddamn twinks. I'm in love. Love
Yeah, I
them.
think there's definitely a knowing. There's definitely a self awareness that they are able to convey. That they are. Yeah, it seems intentional. It seems like they know they're doing the stupid, campy, ditzy social media influencer thing, but with a knowing and a sort of a winking that makes it like funny and intelligent. And I think, yeah, I mean, I agree that like were their moves choreographed in the way that Sasha Colby's were? No, they weren't as precise as that. But in the way that they were probably doing a fair bit of improvising and maybe hadn't practiced like quite as much to the every little movement that the way Sasha did, they clearly still know how to deliver and perform while doing that sort of improv and a bit of a, maybe it's a little bit more messy looking, but they really delivered the performance, I thought. And you know,
Yeah.
it was enough to impress for sure.
Sasha Colby also, she has gotten so much. I don't know if it's just the people I follow, but when they announced the cast, it seemed like she was the one that people were freaking out about. To be honest, I wasn't aware of her. I wasn't following her. But you can tell that, and I love that the franchises seem to be doing this. They're adding, like Australia just did this, UK just did this. They add queens who are older and more polished and have been doing it for a long time. So you see the contrast of like social media and reality stars versus old school drag, where they came up through the club scene and had to like perform live and look good in real life. And Sasha Colby just like stands out. Like her, what was it, Bjork? No, it was Annie Lennox. What was it? She performed a song. She like undid her hair. She took off the straight jacket. It was, you could tell she knew what she was doing. And it's a confidence, right?
Yeah, totally. I actually forgot what the song was as well. But yeah, I do remember it being really precise. And it is that thing of like there's a real comfort and ease and precision that having the only way to say it is really trained in live performance the way. And I actually think she probably also is like an actual dancer. I don't know much about her, but I think she probably has done other, she lives in Hollywood, right? She's like a Hollywood
Yes.
entertainer. So that's it's a breeding ground for that kind of exposure, you know, to performance and to
Mhm.
that kind of comfort. So she definitely has that. And you do see that in the older queens that come from places like New York and LA, where it's not just in Connecticut, I'm the best drag performer. Connecticut comes to mind because there's so many of them, but it's
Yeah.
because the caliber is just so high there in those places. Those are performing arts centers of the world. So, you know, that's what
Yeah.
you get out of those places. You get that kind of talent.
This is kind of a tangent, but you just brought up Hollywood, and I'm reminded of, and this wasn't on our list of things to talk about, but Real Friends of WeHo, starring Brad Goreski and Todrick Hall.
That looks
Okay,
so dumb and messy, and I'm totally gonna watch it.
do you think? Okay, okay, okay. Oh my god, I'm getting excited. First of all, my dream is to be on a Housewives show. And I've always been like, why is there no gay guys on the Housewife franchise? But then we look back, and there has been shows that try and do it. There was the A-listers, I think, which is like maybe more than 10 years ago, about these gays who live in New York, and then they did Fire Island. Didn't watch. I don't remember watching A-listers, I think it was called. I did watch Fire Island. It was okay, but ultimately I felt like I was watching my own life, and so I didn't feel like it was giving me the escapism that I craved. So Friends of WeHo has the potential to have that escapism quality, because these are celebrities, public figures who are living in Hollywood, potentially friends with other celebrities. So if we get a glimpse of that fantasy, it may catch people's opinion. But I'm also like, are gay guys able to be messy enough on camera the way that these unhinged housewives are and really capture the audience, because I feel like I don't know if they will be. And also, are gay guys as a community, like people like you and I, willing to watch this show? And a third question, is there do straight people want to watch a docu soap about a group of gay guys living in WeHo? Like, I'm wondering, is the magic still going to be there?
I don't really think it works. And I think
Yeah.
the reason that why people don't take to it is because it's just not really that cute or entertaining to see men acting that way. And you can chalk this up to like, misogyny, but society expects women to be catty and frivolous and finds that entertaining, and they find it not to be terribly threatening. But I think to see men acting frivolous and silly and potentially threatening towards each other, right? When they're having these, like, you can't see two men throwing their prosthetic limbs across the room at each other, or smashing the glass on the table because you think, oh my God, someone's going to die, right? It's not funny or cute,
Yeah, it's
So
a intensity level. Like when one of the I'm thinking of Real Housewives of New Jersey, when Teresa's brother Joe freaks out and he gets so mad and he smashes shit, and it's like on camera, it reads very differently than when Teresa smashes something. You're like, oh shit, she's gonna go crazy. But when he does it, it's like, oh my God, is he gonna break someone's neck? It does. You're
yeah.
right. It does translate differently. And I did hear that there was a cast member who had started filming with the gay guys, the cast, and the cast refused to work with him because he had an OnlyFans. And I'm like, okay,
Oh.
that is let's just like roll it back
Hmm.
a little bit. If this is supposed to be a real glimpse into a group of gay guys as friends, every one of us knows somebody who's on OnlyFans. So why the fuck would that be something that they
God,
shy
more
away
and
from?
more people. When I was out last night, just a slight side tangent, but just to how many people are on fucking OnlyFans, people were saying, "Oh, like this and that." Like someone that I was on OnlyFans that I thought like was a DJ or something, was doing other stuff. I guess I should assume from now on that all DJs are also on OnlyFans. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah,
Literally everyone, and I feel like I fucking started it. So,
you were the founder of OnlyFans.
and yeah, when I started wigs, and everyone else started doing wigs, but I got out of the game. I got out of the game, man.
I I was telling a friend of mine, a good friend of mine is good friends with Brad Goreski.
Hmm.
And we weren't talking about Brad, but we were talking about how, like, if there was a show that was truly about a group of gay guys, there are a lot of topics that I feel like would need to come up that I'm not sure they would be able to put on television. Meth and drugs in general. That's okay. You can pour your
Hmm.
coffee, honey.
Okay.
Meth, drugs in general, extreme sexual behavior like fucking
Mhm.
orgies and fisting, and people who are on
Feasting.
OnlyFans, because that is what gay culture is. It's sex and drugs.
It's
And so if you
fisting. It's come on now, hang on. We're trying to break away from these stereotypes.
I know, but like, can you imagine if these friends of WeHo go on and all they talk about is their Hollywood careers? That's not gay culture, bitch. In my
Do we care if it's
opinion.
gay culture, or do we just want it to be entertaining? I don't know how entertained people are by like fucking talking about fisting and like drugs and sex. It's like kind of sad,
Yes,
actually.
that's true. I guess that's true. That's true. Actually, that's exactly what my friend said. That would be a really sad show if that's what they were talking about. I guess I feel like you're right. There's two things. It's like, are we going to focus? Do we want it to be like representative of the entire community, or do we just want it to be a fun show about people living in Hollywood?
Well, and I don't think fucking fisting and meth is representative of the entire community either. Like, I don't live in that community.
No,
That's
it
not
is definitely
how I live.
not
My
a
friends
part of the
have games
entire
night, and I stay home
community.
with my cat most weekends. Like, that's not,
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
not a part of the
and I have
entire
like a
community.
white collar job. But no, but yeah, no, but I do get what you mean. I totally do. But actually, like, what do I want to see from Todrick Hall? I want to see him being like a messy cunt. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally.
I don't. I certainly don't care about his
And
sex life. That shit creeps me the absolute fuck out. I think he's got a really unhealthy obsession with like child things. Like child memorabilia and Disney and shit, Disney adult shit. That creeps me the fuck out. I don't want to know about his
Disney.
sex life at all. But I do want to see him being a messy cunt.
I would love to see Todrick get called out for all, like, he doesn't pay his dancers, all of these things
Yeah.
that he's apparently done. That will be good TV.
Well, there was he was like kind of good on, I think it was UK Big Brother he did or something, or was it an American Big Brother? I don't remember. He was on one of the Big Brother shows, and it did go down a little bit because he sort of like forgot how much he was on camera all the time. And he said some really revealing stuff that made him seem like kind of a nasty person, and he
Like
was like,
what?
backstabbing people and gossiping. And then he was also talking about some of this stuff, like his controversies and stuff. And he was talking about them in a way that was like, oh, like you're a narcissist. Like you think you're the victim here, So I hope that
Ooh,
kind
I
of
might
stuff
have to go
does
back and watch
happen.
that. That is what I love about reality TV is like these people being confronted with reality. Actually, this is a nice bridge into another topic we want to discuss is Jen Shaw got sentenced from Real
Hmm.
Housewives of Salt Lake City for 6.5 years in prison. And I was reading the Twitter like live tweets while it was happening. And one of the things that they said in court was she was pretty much in denial about it and thought she was the victim until they laid out the evidence in a way that she couldn't deny it anymore. Up until that moment, she was like living in her own delusional reality. And this is what I love about reality TV is these people who live in La La Land, but then get confronted with reality in a way that they have there's no, there's no way out except for by acknowledging the truth. And this is happening with Jen Shaw. And I think it would be, Todrick Hall would be an interesting like example of this should this show go in that direction. But what did you think about Jen Shaw's sentencing? I actually thought she was going to get longer. 6.5 years seems like not that much for what she did.
Yeah, that's my only thought too. Is that I thought they were talking about quite a lot longer than that. I thought I heard 20 something or more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just surprised that it was so short. I really don't know anything about the story. It's not one of the housewives that I watch actually.
So one thing that's interesting about her is, and that show is like Jen getting arrested in season 2 was like the best thing that's happened to Housewives in so long because it was
Mm.
real life, it was shocking, it was all of these high stakes drama, which we love as Housewife fans. But even yesterday, I was catching up on Salt Lake City, and it was after Jen had been sentenced. And in this episode, Jen was like, don't talk about my trial. I'm innocent. You're fucking with my life." And I'm like, damn, this is not going to age well. She's really fucked herself over. But it shows the level of delusion, and also the fact that Bravo does Bravo do any research? And like, I don't know how you do this. Okay, you want to cast somebody who's rich. Do they sort of take 5 minutes to be like, how is this person making their money? Is it legit? Is their business legit? Are they shady? Is there potential that we could put these people on TV, give them a platform, but they're criminals? Because it's happened 3 times now. Teresa, Erica, and Jen Shaw. And it's like, does Bravo have a sense of responsibility to do that much research? Or is it like they're just putting these people on TV and if they're criminals, they're criminals?
Allegedly criminals, just in case Erica Jane
Allegedly.
decides to sue us, and which honestly would be great because she'd know about our podcast, which would be lit.
Yes, that would be
But
amazing.
I think there's only so much you can actually see from their position. I think Bravo can do research. I think if you were to look into Tom Girardi from Bravo's perspective, there's privacy and things like people's personal lives and business and finances. So you can go, oh, well, I guess he's like a rich lawyer, but you can't really dig into like individual cases or like whether clients have been paid out or not, unless that stuff was already in the public somehow, which I mean, it wasn't really, I don't think, in that case. And, I just think,
Mhm.
yeah, there's not that much that they can do without like, probably without like fucking search warrants or something.
Yeah, you can only go so far. So 6.5 years. I'm curious to see what happens after this for Salt Lake City. The drama this season has been kind of boring. Like Heather Gay is pretending she basically woke up. I know you don't watch it. I'll basically tell you they went on a cast trip and she woke up with a black eye. And the whole episode, they're implying that somebody came into her house at 4 a.m. and attacked her. And
Okay.
the whole episode, you're like, oh my God, who did it? And then now it's going on to the third episode of Heather being really quiet. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. She's telling the producers in her confessional, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And then online, it's coming out that she fell. She was drunk and she fell in the shower and hit her face on a faucet. But
Yeah.
like, they're really trying to milk this and it's so fucking annoying. Like, don't do that. Like, I know that I can only imagine a cast member on a cast trip gets a black eye and they're like, yes, golden opportunity. How can we milk this? How can we make this go longer? But we're not that stupid, bitch. If somebody would have punched you on a cast trip, we would have found out about it. Just like we knew that Jen Shaw was arrested. People would have leaked it. It would have been all the talk, and we would have known that the housewives got into a physical fight. But the fact that they're making this drawn on shows how desperate they are for
For
drama. And
storylines.
yeah, and I think that the Housewives franchise in general is like there's cracks in the foundation because there's been so many changes recently, and I don't know. It's just like when I watch that kind of episode of the Black Eye, I'm like, I don't. Why am I giving my time to this, Derek? Why do I keep watching? I'm like waiting for the bomb to drop about Heather Gay's eye, and I know that there isn't going to be one.
Yeah, that's weird. That doesn't, the story doesn't even like add up. What? So
No.
someone just came in and punched you and left? Like that's it?
Well, so
What?
they had like the security footage of like Heather answering. Somebody knocks on her door at 4 in the morning, and she answers it, and then they cut it out, and they imply that somebody like there was a break and entry.
Okay.
But obviously, if something like that happened, we would have fucking found out
But there'd
about
be
it.
more to
So
the story as well. It wouldn't just be like,
totally.
and then I got a black eye and nothing happened. Nothing was
And
stolen. Like,
production would have to address that in a very real legal way if somebody was broken into.
yeah,
So we'll
weird.
see what happens. Jen Shaw, yeah, 6.5 years. She said in court that she was, and like she had an entire floor in New York that she was training to do this. Like it's so much bigger than that I even thought. They had text messages of her, somebody texting her and saying, the old lady on the phone is crying because we took all of her money. And Jen Shaw's like, we'll get her to shut up. Like no remorse at all. Been doing it for years, knew exactly what she was doing, training people to do it. And the other thing is they were already making a lot of money. Her husband makes almost $1 million a year. So it
Hmm.
just shows like, oh God, that's a nasty person. And in court they were like, how are you going to pay for the retributions? And she said, well, I've started making merch for this trial. And the judge is like, okay, so you're going to give that to like the victims? And she said yes. But I don't know, the whole thing seems really dark and sinister. And I don't do you Derek, do you think that somebody can do something like that over and over and over again, drain people of their life savings, take advantage of old and people who have Alzheimer's, and then go to jail and be completely brand new and fresh and be a good person?
Not really. No, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think the rehabilitative powers of prison in the first place are obviously not as strong as they should be in North America, but also only effective probably for people like, who crime of passion, you accidentally, you got into an altercation, oops, somebody died, you know, um, or some minor drug offense that is, as a result of like, an impoverished upbringing, that kind of thing can be rehabilitated. I'm not too sure if like an unapologetic um, psychopath narcissist is that I don't think those people change. I mean, thinking again about Liver King, right? That guy, his apology was literally this delivered with the same energy as any of his TikTok videos. Obviously, this Jen Shaw lady, it never occurred to her that like if it may have well occurred to her that she was doing something very bad and wrong and she kept doing it anyway because she like preferred, like that was fine to her. So yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think you changed that.
And also, they used like she knew that she was committing these crimes and then signed up for a reality show, and they used it against her. Like they're like, your tagline was the only thing I'm guilty of is being Shaw amazing, and she was like, well, reality TV isn't real, and they said yes, but you're mocking the system openly, knowing that you're under investigation. So I agree with you. I think that somebody like that doesn't change and maybe either gets better at hiding it or just lives the rest of their life as a victim, feeling like, poor them, poor them, poor them. Super
Yeah, I
crazy
think there's
stuff.
like, yeah, I think there's just people that are deranged to the point where they can justify absolutely anything, right? And I
Yeah.
think being that deranged, there's no way of getting through that type of derangement because that's the way it functions. It functions to continuously self-justify, so anything that comes her way that's like punitive is just going to be twisted, right?
Oh my God, psycho. In other housewives news, Lisa Rinna is leaving the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Fucking rip to the goat.
So sad.
Press F to pay respects.
So sad. Um, I got a lot of messages about this. People were like, "Are you okay? Oh my God, are you going to keep watching?" Yes. Okay. First of all, I am not emotionally attached to Lisa Rinna. Okay. The reason why I was so fervently defending her is because I thought she was doing her job as a housewife to call Kathy Hilton out. That is what they get paid to do. Am I upset that Lisa Rinna is leaving? I am, because I thought that Lisa Rinna was a great housewife. She was a shit stirrer. She fucking found the story. She shamelessly pursued it at the expense of other people's lives, livelihood, and mental health. And is that morally good? No, but is the Housewives a place where we're looking for like positive role models in our moral compass? I don't think so. So I am curious to see who they replace her with. I'm hoping that it's an OG. But if they just lose Rinna and nobody in that cast is trying to stir the pot, what the fuck are we going to be watching?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, they obviously are going to have plans to replace people because they'll have, too short of a cast if they don't do that. So that, maybe they have a plan for that. And maybe they also think there's enough going on with like Erica, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. But I agree. Like, I thought, I sort of like, I don't think I liked her, but I would say that, she was pretty reliable for drama. And there's somebody you can always kind of like, you're always able to look at the screen and go like, stop being a crazy bitch. And that's what you want. um, but I will say, it has gotten a little bit exhausting. Just her
Mhm.
specifically has gotten a little exhausting because she is she's very up in people's business. And you just want to be like, oh my God, like stop sometimes. Cause it's always the same too. Just playing both sides and needling people and making people miserable.
You shared a post with me. I think you did, or did I share it with you about Kathy Hilton liking posts?
Oh yeah,
Because the
about
first thing, yeah, you
yeah.
tell it.
Well, it was just Kathy Hilton had the context of the post that I shared with you was really weird. It was like a screenshot of a secondhand post of Kathy Hilton liking something, and it was like I don't exactly know, but she had liked
Mm.
this comment that was saying something super critical about Kyle, about how Kyle is like a manipulator and all she cares about is her money and she'll throw anyone under the bus like her family and friends. And Kathy had liked this, and I was like, damn, that's vicious.
Yeah, I'm just pulling it up now. Kathy Hilton. This is Cassie. Kathy liked the comment that was, "Why would Kyle let Rinna do this?" Oh, to those saying, "Why would Kyle let Rinna do this?" Understand one thing: she has not let them do it. She is behind them doing it. It's how she has operated all along, and people still aren't seeing it. Rinna attempts to destroy her acquaintances. Kyle does the same to her own family and friends. She will do anything for money and social status, whether it's laughing at a 14-year-old black boy getting verbally abused and cheering it on with her husband, or destroying her sister Kim at her most vulnerable. There is nothing too low for Kyle Richards. That is what
Yeah.
Kathy
For
Hilton
your
liked.
sister to like that seems pretty crazy to me. Like, I don't know if I'm just not seeing, and I've only watched the show for like 4 or 5 years, maybe. So I haven't seen it from the beginning, and maybe I'm missing something. But Kyle Richards does not come off that way to me. She's not always right. And it was a little weird how she was like on board with the making fun of Garcelle's kids and whatever, and didn't think that was a little more cringe and serious than it was for sure. But I don't know if I see this evil manipulator. Like, am I wrong? She seems
Well,
more
I
like one
think
of the more reasonable and down to earth people to me on the show.
I think that I think that Kyle is definitely the cast member who seems to be the most level-headed, and she seems to be grounded, and she comes at things in a more, I guess, grounded way. But there were rumor, and I actually don't know if this is true, that she was like close with the producers and like she always got the good edit. I remember very briefly, I can't remember what season, it looked like the cast was going to go for her, but never watching a season ever have I felt like Kyle Richards was behind any of the drama or was doing anything sinister or shady ever. If
Yeah.
anything, her role is to echo other people's, like, to either stand up against Rinna or to like stand with, like she's either like the second voice, like this is true, or this isn't true, but she's never the one to like actually throw the bomb. And if it is it possible that Kyle Richards is super manipulative and just really really is careful with how she approaches the drama? Possibly. Or it could just be that she is letting other people do the dirty work and then comes in as like the commenter, like the audience's perspective.
Yeah, and if that's true, and if that's the way that really Kathy honestly feels about it, then isn't it a little weird to come into Kyle's space, which is this show, and really her turf, and then be like, and act the way that Kathy is acting, right? And act like, ooh, like you're a manipulator. I don't like the way you're behaving. It's like, well, you really came to my house when you came on this show, Like,
Yeah, why do that if that's what you think of her?
Yeah, like don't just stay out of it then if you don't like the way that feels. Like just don't go on the show,
100%.
you
Well,
know?
this keeps coming back to like Kathy Hilton then being like, why are you here? You don't like
Yeah.
Kyle, you don't like Rinna. Why are you putting yourself on TV? And some people think that, the Hiltons like Kathy gave them an ultimatum. If you want me to stay, Rinna has to go. Why on God's green earth would Kathy Hilton want to be on a show so bad if her sister is that crazy? Or is it that Kathy Hilton is just liking shit on Instagram because she knows people will talk about it and it's going to generate buzz for the next season?
Or maybe she doesn't co-sign everything that was in that message either. She just liked that someone was criticizing Kyle
Mm,
in a moment she was mad at Kyle. Like maybe it doesn't mean she co-signs
totally.
everything that was said. And that, that's fine, but it's still pretty crazy to like something that
Totally.
vicious,
Yeah.
if you don't co-sign it, then that's pretty irresponsible with a public platform.
Yeah, I am curious to see what happens with casting. If Kathy comes back, it will be really interesting because she's coming back after being gone through hell with Rinna, after criticizing Kyle, and also on the reunion. Remember, she called out Rinna for making Kim Richards' life hell. So she's knowingly coming back into a franchise that has almost destroyed one sister, and you know by joining, you're kind of giving your stamp of approval to the franchise, whether or not Lisa Rinna is there. You're like, I'll be a part of it just in a different way, even though that's not really how it works. So it'll be really curious if she comes back. And also who they replace Rinna with. I don't think Vanderpump would come back. That would be amazing. But I think that they do need an OG.
Why is Kathy on the show? Like, it's so weird. I know there's
Exactly
also
why.
speculation about she's like super jealous of Kyle's fame, and at this point, Kyle I think is richer, so maybe that's it. I don't know,
Oh.
but I like that's so petty. I mean, she's still Kathy Hilton, like she doesn't need this, does she? I don't know. It's so weird.
Well, that was like my whole argument when we started talking about this. She doesn't need the money or the fame. So the only reason she's coming on this has to do with some kind of emotional or personal satisfaction. Like either it's a hobby, a passion, or she wants to like do something because she's got the money and the fame already. But I have heard this about fame is like it's addicting and you want more and more and more and more and more. And I can imagine in a family where there's like Paris and Nikki Hilton and Kyle Richards and Kathy Hilton and Kim Richards, it's like there's so much fame in that family that maybe that is just, and you also know, like everybody, family dynamics are fucked up. Add fame and money to that, just imagine how much further it could take you. Like who knows what's motivating Kathy, but if it does come down to family dynamics, then sometimes there is no rationale for why people do it. It's just sort of like I have to do it because you just don't understand why. Like go back to like their childhood, right?
Yeah, and maybe she just thought it was going to be all hunky dory. She wears slippers in the airport, like maybe she thought it was all going to be love,
Yeah.
and she
Well,
liked
people
that, and
do
maybe
love
she,
her.
yeah.
She is beloved. My favorite rumor was that Paris Hilton had an announcement. She was teasing online that she said was going to break the internet. People were speculating that possibly it was her joining the Real Housewives of
I
Beverly
wish.
Hills. I wish it ended up being just that she re-released Stars Are Blind. I was like, Paris, that is not going to break anybody's internet.
I
Maybe
broke my
somebody's
ears.
ears.
Yeah, I broke my
We
ears.
both did
I don't know
it.
how is it that you hire Maya Marie to do your whole song for you and it still sounds bad? Like
So
how do
I
you
didn't
hire a
hear.
ghost singer and it still sucks?
Yeah, I didn't hear the new version of Stars Are
It's
Blind.
so bad. Ew. It's so bad. And it's so
Where did
obviously Maya Marie and it's
where
so
did you hear
obviously
it?
low effort and wait, you can just what do you YouTube it? Just look it up
Oh
on
my god.
it's
Okay, I need to
everywhere.
re-YouTube it.
It's
Okay.
out. But it sounds fucking nasty. And I'm just like, why would you hire a ghost singer if you're not even going to put any effort into the production and not like improve the sound of this at all?
It was, Paris is typically really savvy with what she does. I felt like this was just kind of a boring, like,
I feel like she
why?
just fucking shit this out for attention,
Yeah, but
which
why?
is
It's
like,
not even enough.
well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what happened between the Paris album and then her sort of like attempt at a second album because everything from the attempt at a second album mostly sucks and sounds terrible. So I don't know how she
Yeah.
put so much effort into like doing kind of a real pop album, which she sang on perhaps 60% of the time. And then everything else like just is really like fucking, you remember Kim Kardashian's song? Like, it's that bad, basically.
Yeah,
Like,
I still listen
it's
to it
as
when I
bad as
work
that
out.
stuff.
And they play in my jam. They
Yeah.
play in my jam. I like that song
It's just
personally,
really
but
low effort. Like, wait, like, don't you have connections? Can't you afford like real Hollywood like artists? Oh, geez.
that's a good point.
So weird.
Um, yeah, I did. I obviously bought Paris's album. I loved it. I just thought re-releasing Stars Are Blind was like I would have rather her re-released like, released a brand new song. And her new songs, there is one that I listened to. I think it's called Good Time. I can't
Are you
remember.
having a good time?
Good time, because
Cause
I'm
I'm
having
having
a
a
good
good
time.
time.
That's it. That's
So
excellent. That's
stupid.
exactly it. Um, but she, so she fucking performs with Miley Cyrus and
Mhm.
Dolly Parton. Okay. So Miley Cyrus has this Miley Cyrus New Year's Eve thing. I didn't watch it, but I woke up the next day. A bunch of people have sent me the Paris's cameo. For some reason, Miley Cyrus and Sia, two extremely accomplished vocalists who sing live and have really, really a lot of talent. And Sia is a huge songwriter too. Before she was her own like performer, sing Stars Are Blind. And then in the middle of it, they're like, please welcome Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton walks out. First of all, Miley goes to the back of the stage and seems to be helping Paris walk. I did look into this, and it seems like she did that also for Dolly Parton. So I think maybe the stage was slippery and she just wanted to make sure the people who were performing with it wasn't specific to Paris. She was doing it to all of the cameos. But
Mhm.
Paris kind of comes to the front of the stage and sings like, 30 seconds of Stars Are Blind. Sounds awful. Like,
Mhm.
not I don't I like definitely the microphone was on because you're like, what, this is
Mhm.
not sounding good. And my first thought was, wow, I'm not surprised that Miley and Sia are maybe personal fans of Paris Hilton. Maybe they had met her, she's sweet, they love what she's done in pop culture, a female making her money, get it, girl. I was a little surprised that Miley invited Paris Hilton out to sing with her because it just seemed like obviously there is universes between the vocal talent of Paris Hilton and Miley Cyrus. And I thought it was an interesting choice to bring her out for that. But at the same time, it also shows you the star power that Paris Hilton has, where they're like, who cares if she can sing? Let's bring her out. It'll be fun. It's Paris Hilton. Like, everybody's just kind of like, it's okay. It's Paris. Like, whatever. Let her do her thing. If she can't sing on key, that's okay. And I watched it over and over again. And it was kind of like very surreal. Like, I love that Paris was on stage. I wish she would fucking go on tour. I would love to see that. I'm kind of a Paris Hilton loyalist in that way, but I'll always feel emotionally attached to her. But was surprised that Miley was like, "Please come and sing with me."
Yeah, I don't think it was that deep. I think it was just their friends, and she said like everyone will live for this. If you what if you came out? What if we sang Stars Are Blind and you came out? And Paris was like,
Uh,
yeah, sure, I'll do that, but like I can only sing like fucking 2 seconds of song and make sure that my mic is quiet. And they were like, sure,
yeah,
that's enough. I don't think it was that serious, but I was a little yeah no, I think it was very like I'll come out, but I can't sing live, right? Like,
you think they had that convo?
I don't know if Paris said, I can't sing live, but I think it was very clear that they kept the mic low and that this was like
Yeah,
intentional. They kept it low and they didn't let her sing. I mean, why wouldn't Paris come out and duet the whole song with Miley? Right? Well, the reason why is because
true.
she can't fucking sing. So the convo was,
Yeah,
wouldn't it be lit if you were there? I really want to sing Stars Are Blind. And at some point someone goes, yeah, but you shouldn't like sing the whole song with Miley, because that just
I
won't
always
sound good.
wonder this. Yeah, I always wonder this about like celebrities who can't sing well. Is like if it's a frank conversation that they have with their teams or if the people on their teams kind of dance around it. Like Britney, as an example, she did start off her career singing live. Like there's Rosie O'Donnell episodes where you can tell she's singing Oops, I Did It Again live because it doesn't sound that good. But at some point, the mic just goes off, period, and you never hear her
Mhm.
singing live again. Is that a conversation that her team had with her? Britney, I think we should just like keep the mic off. What do you think? If she's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Or if they're like, yeah, no, the mic's on, wink. And Britney, the whole time was like, no, my mic is on. It's just not very loud.
I don't know. I think it's probably different animals, like to compare what happened with Paris and with Britney. I think with Paris, like, I don't know who said that. It could have been Paris just being like, I'll do it, but I'm scared. I just want to sing a little, right? Like it might have been that. It might have been her team. Might have been, who knows? Who cares?
Mhm.
I don't think it was that deep. But I think with, yeah, like with Britney, there was obviously like, it just seemed like very quickly her ability to sing live just vanished, because like she was
Mm.
never very good at it, to be honest. But
Hmm.
there were those attempts in the beginning, and at some point either she got worse or someone said what you're able to do right now isn't good enough, so we'll just like keep your mic really low from now on. you know
Yeah.
so
I hope that she talks about that. The lip syncing thing that has been such a big part of her career. And I wonder if she'll talk about that in her book, if there's ever enough
because
paper to
mostly
print it.
like mostly even in her concerts, like her modern day concerts, like within like the last 10 years, you can still hear that her mic is on. It's just
Yeah.
way lower than the backing track, like way
Yeah.
lower, right? To the
Yeah.
point where you can, it's only on enough so that you can tell it's on, but no more than that. You can't actually hear her like really at all. So yeah,
You brought up when I messaged you about this, you brought up Maya. What's her last name? Maya.
Maya Marie.
Maya Marie. Okay. And you were like, how can you be a Britney stan and not know Maya Marie? And I did know
Yeah.
of her. Like I remember hearing about this, especially when Britney Jean came out. But after that conversation, I YouTubed it, and there's YouTube videos that basically go through the whole Britney Jean album and show
hmm
who's singing what. And Britney
Those
doesn't
aren't
sing any
reliable
of work.
either. Those even give Britney too much credit on the Britney Jean album, because people are just
Okay.
guessing. They don't know where it's Britney and where it's Maya Marie. I think Maya Marie sang almost the entire album, if not the whole album.
There's in this video, she sings Maya Marie sings all of Work Bitch. And it's
Yeah,
like,
she
that's not
absolutely
even
does. Yeah.
singing. You want a hot body? You want a Bugatti? You want a Maserati? That Britney couldn't do that. Really?
No.
Britney?
Yeah. Well, that's why I say like I don't know if Britney contributed at all. Right. She
And
did not sing
also,
Perfume. She didn't sing a lick of Perfume. She probably didn't sing a lick of Alien.
she didn't sing any of Perfume.
Absolutely not. That is 100% Maya Marie.
Do you think also that there's a connection between like after Blackout and before Blackout? Because Maya Marie comes after the conservatorship, doesn't she?
I think Maya Marie had been there a while. I'm not too sure. I think
Because
that
Circus, Femme Fatale, Britney
right.
Jean, and Glory were all post conservatorship, and
Yeah, and I think she
Blackout
is on
and all those
Circus.
before. Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if like part of Britney's being in the conservatorship was like, I'm not fucking recording an album. Like I'll go into the studio for
Mm.
one day and I'll do anything I can do and then post. It takes more than one day to do vocals for a pop album. It doesn't matter how much production there is. So I wonder if that's like Maya's increased presence on Britney's album is indicative of Britney's lack of interest in actually doing anything. I wonder if we'll ever know that though.
Yeah,
I
probably. I
can't believe
mean,
I can't.
that's the most seems like the most logical explanation. Britney was like, "I'm not fucking doing it," but they're like, "We are putting out an album anyway because we need to make money off of Britney Spears."
And she also sang for Paris's Stars Are Blind. And when you go to
Yeah.
Maya's Instagram, it does say backing vocals for Britney, Paris, and a bunch of other people.
hmm
So it's not even a secret. Like she's saying that she did it. It's crazy. I wonder if anybody's talked about Maya in like in
Backing
mainstream
vocals.
media. Yeah,
But then
backing vocals.
it's it's most likely that Maya Marie was not on Glory at all because of the controversy. So it sounds like Maya Marie does not work with Britney anymore, because if they see her name on the credits, people are going to be like, "Did Britney sing this at all?"
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah,
Speaking of Britney, so a new a new a new name appeared online this week.
a new
B-ANON.
challenger approaches.
um, people. Okay, I don't really know what to say about this other than people are getting too crazy about the fact that they think Britney is being held against her will in some facility, and Sam is like the devil and he's part working with her dad, and that every image of Britney online has been photoshopped or altered. There was a recent picture of Paris. Paris and Britney share a friend named Cade, and Cade's birthday was last week. Paris posted a bunch of pictures of her and Cade, and one of them had Britney in the middle. Everybody online was speculating that Paris had edited Britney into this picture. Paris then leaves a comment saying, "You guys are crazy. I don't even want to like validate these conspiracy theories with a response, but I did use an app called whatever that basically auto tunes everything and makes it look that way." And she didn't even mention Britney's name, but she said, "I did use this app to retouch the pictures." And I always think that the people who believe that Britney is being edited into pictures are like just wackos on TikTok who have no time and don't actually believe it. But I have a friend, bitch, who really believes that Britney was fucking, that Paris Hilton took time of her day to cut out a picture of Britney, put it in this post, and then share it online to derail the common knowledge that Britney is now free. And they're calling this community now B-ANON. It's like it's not free Britney anymore. It's moved into the B-ANON, like QAnon. And I'm like, what the fuck? Do you people actually think that she's like, I wanted to ask you this. When Free Britney was happening, I was really like erratic and manic about the whole thing and I couldn't stop talking about it. And I was making like insane Instagram stories. Is that how you were perceiving me? Like, okay, Peter, you're a little like, it's not that serious. Or is there something different with these being on people? Because I want to judge them, but I also know that I'm a huge Britney stan. So I don't want to like the pot calling the what, kettle black. Oh my God. Wow.
I don't know. I mean, to me, I didn't think that it looked that way during Free Britney because I just know that you're a stan and a big fan, and you had legitimate questions. There were some real questions to be asked about what was going on with Britney at that time. Now there are not, right? So I think to me, it's really clear that this is just a bunch of like very, extremely online, like internet folks who missed the like social aspect of Free Britney because there is no story anymore, and now they're just making one up to remain involved, because they loved that sleuthing, this is my little true crime investigation that I'm a part of, right? And now that Free Britney is over, there's no opportunity for that, and so they're just like sort of making one, and it's pretty fucking gross, actually.
It is. It's like if you really cared about her, you would just let her go. And people keep saying,
yeah, and this
like,
isn't about her anymore. It's so made up and it's so abstracted from reality that it's like
yeah,
you can't. This is not something you're doing for Britney. This isn't something you're doing out of love for Britney. It's so obviously selfish. It's so obviously a social void in your life you're filling.
yeah. And like the comments of, well, haven't you seen her Instagram? Haven't you seen like she doesn't look well? That's not a crime. Somebody is allowed to post on Instagram and appear to be unwell. Like, who fucking cares? If she is married to a gold digger, that's nobody's business but her own. If she is mentally unstable and dealing with a lot of trauma and choosing to get naked on Instagram, you might not agree with it. That's her fucking choice. So this to me is not a story. This is just, again, people criticizing Britney or criticizing the lack of the Britney that they want to see and making it into this nonstop narrative that, like, again, she's not able to just do her thing. As soon as Britney fucking, the conservatorship ended, I really stopped paying attention. Like her posts were a little strange. And so they made me sad sometimes. And I stopped like obsessively reading the captions. But generally I've moved on because I feel like Britney's free now. She has a husband. That's kind of the end of that story. And I feel like these people are not letting it go and they're not letting her just live her life. And even if she is unwell, and even if Sam is a fucking asshole, that's none of your fucking business. She's a grown
No,
ass
yeah.
woman.
She's a grown ass
Yeah,
woman. These people are like desperate to remove her agency. That's not something you do for someone you're a true fan of and whom you care about. They're desperate to explain anything actually that she does as not under her own control, as not under her own agency. It is. She's a grown woman. She makes these
yeah,
decisions. If you don't like them, too bad. It's not your life.
exactly. Period. As Sasha Colby says, period.
It's really belittling. I mean, remember the way that Britney responded to stuff sort of during Free Britney and when those documentaries were coming out. She was talking about, I'm crying every day about the way people are treating me like a little child. Like I'm not a little girl. And the way people are like removing, she was complaining about that. She was saying like, don't remove my agency and all this, even while she was in the conservatorship,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, I agree. I hate those people. I hate those people. But I assume we'll have to talk about it on the podcast if things keep coming up. I just can't believe that it's called B-ANON. This is blowing my mind. It's like move over Trump. Britney Spears is taking center stage.
They just need Britney to be this like infantile little angel, right? And like maybe the decisions you don't like are ones she's making and she owns
That's right,
them,
honey.
Sorry your idol
Sorry
is a
about
bit
it.
cringe.
Exactly. This is Britney. This is who she is.
That might be who
She's a
she is,
hillbilly
yeah.
from Louisiana. She can't be Cambridge and famous. She had like a huge record label making her into this image that we all fall in love with. But the truth is, Britney's a little wacky. She's down home. She's a little trashy. She's a little out there. And that's who she is. And now we're finally seeing it. That's
Hmm.
Britney, bitch. She's fucking
Yep.
spinning around in her house. She's got trauma coming out the wazoo, like most of us. She just happens to be a really huge celebrity. That's it.
Hmm.
End of story. No conspiracy. Let her be. We'll pray to baby Jesus that she's in the recording studio, which somebody says
And
that she is,
the
which I don't know.
healthiest thing for her would be to back the fuck off and leave her alone and stop
Yes.
piling onto, I'm sure, the cacophony of voices in her head, right? That she is being, that are judging her, that
Yeah.
she's judging
Yeah.
herself for, like that can't be. Just leave. Like you got to leave her alone, because you have to be doing damage at this point. Wouldn't it be nicer to just leave her alone, have her be quiet? Maybe she can, vent on social media like she does, whatever, fine. Let her do that, let her ignore it, and then do her thing, and then process, and maybe she gets back in the studio one day and maybe you like her again, but stop
Yeah.
like
And maybe, yeah. And
increasing
like,
like the pressure on her at all times.
exactly. And Blackout was such an amazing album because she did it herself and she was like finally breaking free and like getting to a place where she could artistically say something. And if we gave her some space, maybe she would be able to get back into the studio and make some good pop music with or without Maya Marie. And have it be a true celebration of Britney deciding to go back, making music, and choosing to share that part of her life with her fans.
Yeah, and what's accomplished by not doing that? By commenting and conspiring with each other online and making up these theories in these little fan communities. It's just about you. It's just about you and your social experience. If you cared about
Yeah.
Britney, this is not the way to help.
I think that's a great place to end. We love Britney. We always will. Derek, thank you for spending your day with me.
Godney,
Godney, long
you're
live
welcome.
Godney. We're
Happy
channeling the Holy Spirit.
happy year of the rabbit. Let's fuck.
Is it Year of the Rabbit?
Yeah, let's procreate.
You and me, baby, ain't nothing but mammals. So
Rabbits,
let's do it like they do in the
like a
Discovery
couple
Channel.
of
Get horny
rabbits.
now. Okay, bye.
Bye.